Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Pedro here, and welcome again if you're new. I'm happy to say that I'm now no longer a third year medical student studying at Brighton and Sussex Medical School. I am in fact now intercalating, doing my intercalated year at Cambridge University. It's very sunny today, so I might actually take these off. A little bit blurry, but we can do it. So if you don't know, the medical degree in the UK is 5 years. 5 years for the primary medical qualification, Bachelor of Surgery, Bachelor of Medicine. And you can do first, second and third year. In my medical school, they allow you to add like a special fourth year in between third and fourth to go out to another institution, another place, another university to carry out like a research year, or generally just another degree, maybe like a bachelor's or sometimes even a master's, which is what I'm doing. So you've probably heard about the Wegovy and the Ozempic medication, or the weight loss drugs, which are all the rave at the moment. Well, yeah, so that's the sort of, broadly speaking, the department I'm working in. I think the easiest way to explain is that sort of area, field of research. But anyway, I want to bring you guys along. It's been a little while since last minute video, just before I entered my surgical rotation back in Brighton, which was absolutely fantastic. I have to admit, I loved it so much. But there wasn't any time to film, and that's why it's been such a long time since I last posted a video on the channel. But anyway, welcome back. It's good to see you guys. And for this first video of the season, I guess, I want to kick it off with my top 5 tips for acing your interview at Cambridge or Oxford. These are some of the tips that I used during my interview in preparation, and sort of the long-term things that I did that really helped me do well in the interview. And stick around for the last little bit. I'm going to give you a bonus tip for you guys, something that just sort of sums up everything that I'm speaking about today, and I think will help you guys in your interviews as well. So first things first, tip number 1 is you have to know your why. You have to know why is it that you're applying for the course, because if you don't actually know why you're applying for the course, it's sort of hard to show the motivation, right? And I think that's the most key thing, especially if you're applying for something like research. And there's the key characteristic that they're going to try and fish out from you during that interview is, what is your motivation? Cambridge is very much a place of unparalleled opportunity, right? That's why it's so competitive, right? But in order to make the most of it, you need to have your clear why. Is it a specific problem that you're trying to solve? What does it drive you? Is it curiosity? Is it the impact of the research? I think for me, what was my main motivation is having gone through third year of medical school, and I remember really going through the vascular surgery rotation and seeing all people with who are suffering with diabetes. It was really, really tough to see that, and they had problems with their limbs, with the circulation, and it could all have been prevented if we just have access to these medications, to the new weight loss drugs, the new GLP-1 agonists, which weren't actually intended for weight loss, but for glycemic control in these patients, and I think we can make a really big impact. And that's what was my motivation. That's what really stirred the passion in me to apply for the course. Tip number 2 is, once you know your why, you have to actually show it. And I think this is probably the hardest part for most applicants, is trying to show or portray that motivation. We can categorize this into 2 ways of doing it. So there is of course the short term in interview preparation that you can do. Read up on your researchers, read up on their work, read up on the people that are interviewing, see what they've done, read some of their papers. And I think this is really important, because the benefit is actually threefold, right? For example, it shows that you have a genuine interest in the research field that you're going into. It also gives you really good discussion points during that interview, right? Because that's what it is, right? It's a discussion. That's what they want to do. And it also helps you maybe anticipate some of the questions that they come up with you. For example, I think I got asked, like, what do you think is the next big step in this field of research? And a couple of weeks before, I had read a paper about how does energy homeostasis work, what makes people eat, what makes people lose energy. And I saw that a lot of research has been done in trying to stop people taking in energy, not eating and stuff, but not a lot of work has been done in how people expend energy. So I think I said that's going to be the next big thing in that research field. I didn't have that much experience in the research field, but it shows that I did at least some reading up, and it shows that you're actually motivated, right? And lastly, it also gives you really good questions to ask them as well. So oh, I read this paper on such and such, but I didn't quite understand. Can you explain to me why this works? So it shows that, again, you're willing to have an interaction with your interviewers, which is really, really, always really good. And now I think some of the longer term things that you can do to help show that why is, things like having previous research experience. I think goes a very long way. In my university, my undergrad, they offered a program called the JRA, which is like a junior research associate thing, and literally you stay in the lab for 8 weeks, and you follow a researcher around. You get to do some experiments in the lab, you get to present your findings in lab meetings. Firstly, it shows that you know what you're getting into, which they want to know. That you have to have some sort of show that you actually understand what research is and what you're going into in that field. And that applies for not just research but for any field, right? Any interview. And the good thing is it doesn't actually have to be in the specific field. So I did my research in antibiotic resistance, but I'm doing now research in energy homeostasis, which is like very, very different. But you can frame it in the way that's really beneficial. For example, what I did was, I said, yeah, it's not the field that I wanted to go into, but it was the opportunity that was given to me at the time, and I took it. And not only that, I learned a lot from it, and so you can sort of play it and twist things around just to your advantage, right? Tip number 3 is consistency. I think a strong academic record is obviously very important, but it's not just about grades, it's showing your perseverance as well, right? Rough times are a given, especially in student life. Things don't work out the way you expect them to, but if you have like a strong, long history of getting good grades at medical school or getting good grades in your undergrad, like I said, just being consistent, it goes a long way to saying that you're the type of person who's resilient, you can adapt to different situations, and most importantly, that you don't give up, which is, I think, one of the biggest things you need in research, is that attitude of I'm gonna stick it through to the end, because I know I'm not doing a PhD, but I know how long it can be, right? And they want to show that you're that type of person who will just keep going and see it through to the end. Tip number 4 is, if you're applying for Oxbridge, you're very, very likely, I think like 99% likely to get the question, why Cambridge? And the answer that you give will be entirely personal to you, and it should be personal to you. But the key thing is that you sort of frame it in a way that relates back to the field that you're going into, science, research, engineering, whatever. Well, so what I did when I got that question was, I said, okay, Cambridge is a very unique place because the college system means that you're in close contact with people who are like-minded but have different perspectives. My dorm is next to someone who is an engineering PhD student, and there is value in that, I said, because I remember in my JRA project that I did a few years ago, I had one of my experiments didn't go according to plan. Even though I was working with antibiotic resistance, which was what my project was based, it was in a lab with geneticists. And when I presented my findings to the lab meeting, to the genetics team, which didn't have anything to do with what I was doing, they were able to give a unique perspective. They said, oh, but did you try this? Did you try that process that you can break up the DNA in a different way so that you can sequence it properly? So you see, it's a different perspective to research. And this is going to be different for everyone, but the main point is that you relate it back to the topic or the field that you're applying to. And tip number 5, it's not an interrogation, but rather a conversation. What I mean by that is, don't think of it as an interview. Don't think of it as you standing behind a desk with panelists in front of you, grilling you on everything that you know, on everything that you've done, and trying to find your weak spot, or your making you defend everything that you've done. It's not meant to be that hostile environment, and they won't culture that. I think there's a lot of misconceptions that they would try that Cambridge interviews are like this, and for me that just wasn't the case at all. It was a very nice chat, just me with 2 other people who were just people. They're just people. They're just like you and me, just people. They're not like some sort of really distant professors who they may be at the top of their field, but they just remember that they're a human as well. I think that really helped me. They want to have a discussion with you. They don't want to interrogate you. They just want to sit down with you, have a chat, get to know who you are. They want to see your characteristics as a person, as a human being. Are you curious? Are you ambitious, resilient? Can you think outside of the box? Can you come up with new ideas? That's what research is, right? But they're not going to culture a hostile environment. They want to make it really relaxed, really comfortable for you, so that you can present the best version of yourself, which I guess is the whole point of the interview. So that's it, guys. That's the top 5 points. My last one I'm going to give you, this is the recent one which I've learned, especially going into these interview periods, is that connection is more important than perfection. Yes, prepare. If you fail to prepare, you can prepare to fail, right? That's what they say, right? But my point is, don't stress about it. I know it's easier said than done, and I was quite nervous going into it, absolutely. And it's okay to feel like that. But the most important thing is that you form a connection with the people who are interviewing you, that you can really just get to their level and be like, yeah, this is me. You can try and perfect a script and go through it over and over in your head. Yes, although that can be helpful, it's not going to get you as much as being able to connect with your interviewers, because that's the only way you're going to be able to show your true colors, right? And that's what they want. They want to see who you are as a person. If you really genuinely have that passion and you're applying to a place where it can cultivate that passion, the interview will go well, because they all share the same passion, and that's what's going to propel you forward in that interview. So just to quickly run through them one more time, just for, the active recall and spaced repetition thing. So know your why, show your why, be consistent, show that you are the type of person who can be resilient and persistent throughout a long time. Is really important, I think, as well. Answer the why Cambridge question well. Again, this will be very different for every one of you, but make sure to tie it in back to the department that you're applying to or the field that you're applying to. And also treat it as a discussion, not as an interrogation. That's what it is. They want to know who you are as a person. I hope you guys enjoy this video. It's been a pleasure making it. It's been a pleasure going back on the YouTube channel, and I hope this is helpful. I hope it's been informative. I'm going to cut it there, and I hope you guys, and I hope to see you in the next video. Peace out, take care, and we'll catch you later. Bye-bye.